What challenges do you see in Iraq?
Iraq has many challenges to overcome. They are suffering from, first of all, security, human rights, humanitarian assistance, and development issues. International community should help Iraqi government and people to overcome and to challenge, to overcome such challenges. This is very important so that the Iraqi people can join and integrate fully as a member of international community.
In ordinary Iraqis' lives, what kind of everyday problems do you need to address?
First of all, very serious security problems they have. Even though the situation in security aspect has improved recently, but still there is very serious issues. There is multinational forces are helping them, led by the United States and many other countries, and that is a very important and noble commitment and sacrifice on the part of international community. At the same time, they should promote national dialogue, national reconciliation. Inclusive dialogue will help their country in overcoming these political issues. There are many displaced persons and refugees who are being hosted in the neighboring countries like Jordan and Syria. Their life is very difficult. The United Nations has been helping them through our UN High Commissioner for Refugees. I need such a generous and strong support from international community.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's necessary for the UN to change its role and function in Iraq?
Since the adoption of Security Council Resolution 1770 last year, United Nations has been expanding and upgrading our presence and activities in Iraq. In fact, we have increased our staff in Iraq and Basra and Erbil. We established a new office in Basra. In fact, this is not enough at this time. We've been helping them to promote inclusive national dialogue. There's a constitutional review process, and we have been assisting them in humanitarian assistance. All this social economic development is a very important area of our work there.
Eventually the US will leave Iraq. What will happen then, do you think?
I hope before multinational forces withdraw completely from Iraq, Iraqi people will be able to, first of all, gain reconciliation among themselves. This is very important, otherwise they will not be able to enjoy stability among themselves. If they can have their own stability politically, then socio-economic support can be done by international community. This is exactly what I'm going to convene in Stockholm, this international compact with Iraq. Even though this is not going to be a pledging conference, but this will provide a very good opportunity for international community to review what has happened in international compact, what are the challenges, what needs to be done more by the international community, and also Iraqi government and people. Prime Minister Maliki has been enjoying broad support with the parliament, and he should utilize this opportunity and also improve the security situation to engage himself in inclusive political dialogue.
As I understand, the summit will not specifically discuss the US presence in Iraq. Isn't that necessary if you should talk about the future of Iraq?
It's not intended to discuss any country's specific role in Iraq. Iraq is being assisted by many countries, including United States and also United Nations. All the members of a multinational coalition forces are helping them in terms of security, stability, and in terms of socio-economic development, United Nations will continue to provide such assistance, particularly in humanitarian and political facilitations.
Okay, you recently returned from Myanmar. Do you think that the international community will be able to help the Burmese people now?
I had a very good meeting with the Senior General Tan She and other leadership, including Prime Minister Tan Shen, during my very brief visit in Myanmar. That's a good beginning of having a direct dialogue with Myanmar leadership. They agreed to allow all international aid workers and even unregistered NGOs are now being welcomed to move freely into the Delta regions, the most affected areas. I think this is a good, a very positive development of situation. They seem to be moving toward the right direction. More important thing would be to establish and maintain such good, trustful relationship. I hope Myanmar authorities will honor their commitment. International community should assist Myanmar people in overcoming their natural tragedy. I was so humbled by what I have seen. There's a total destruction. All the roads and bridges were washed away. Rice paddies are filled with water, and the farmers needs to plant for their next harvest. Their life is very miserable, and we must really help them.
What are your hopes for Myanmar and the democratic process in the country?
In parallel with this humanitarian assistance, I sincerely hope that the Myanmar government will address this humanitarian and human rights and other political democratization process. While my last visit was focused on acutely necessary humanitarian issues, I'm sure that I will have another opportunity to address these political issues, including the issue of Aung San Suu Kyi.
We have another very complex situation in the Middle East, and you said it's one of the most important items on your agenda. Why?
This, the situation and peace and stability in the Middle East has very important implications to peace and stability in the world. I sincerely hope that this Annapolis peace process will get credible result with the direct participation of Prime Minister Olmert and Palestinian President Abbas. It was again very encouraging that recently in Doha, Qatar, the leaders in the region have met and discussed the Lebanese situation and have helped elect a new president in Lebanon. This was a great improvement in the situation in Middle East as a whole. With all this development of situation, I hope first of all the Israelis and the Palestinians will be able to agree on a peace treaty by the end of this year. And at this time, United Nations is deeply engaged and concerned about humanitarian situation in Gaza.
Yeah. You have personally met the civilians in the area. What are your impressions?
Civilians, their right and their human rights and their right to live in peace and security should be protected. Whether you live in Israeli side or Palestinian side, wherever you may be. This is very important. But during the time of conflict, particularly when it comes to armed conflict, it is always civilians whose human rights are abused, not protected. Therefore, as a Secretary General and the United Nations whole system are working very hard to promote and protect the human rights of civilians in the armed conflict areas.
What is life like for children growing up in that region, would you say, or that area?
It's very sad. When I visited the schools in Palestinian refugee camps, they are very young, who should have great dreams for their future. When they do not see such hope and dreams for their future, it is very sad. I was so humbled, and I had my very strong determination to work for the peace and the security in the Middle East.
What expectations do they have in the United Nations, would you say?
United Nations has all mandate and broad responsibility to work for peace and security, development, and human rights. This is a mandate given by the member states, and this is the expectation of international community. I have been discussing this matter with all the leaders, and while participating in Quartet, I have made always quite clear to promote, first of all, a mutually trustful relationship between the parties concerned, particularly Israelis and the Palestinians. I regard that the peace and stability between Israelis and Palestinians is the core of this Middle East problem. Therefore, having a peace treaty between them will help facilitate the peace process in other areas. I'm encouraged that recently, under the auspices of Turkish government, Israelis and Syrians have decided to have indirect talks. That is also very encouraging. We must not lose these opportunities at this time.
But as it is now, the democratically elected Hamas is not involved in the peace talks. Is that a problem?
The national unity of Palestinians is a very important one. This is very sensitive one. I've been urging that there should be a national unity among Palestinian people and government.
But do you think peace is possible if not all parties are involved in the talks?
We are at this time working to promote and help and encourage a peace process between Israelis and Palestinians. In the end, there should be a national Palestinian government. Yes.
For many people, peace in this part of the world seems almost impossible. Do you have any reason to be more optimistic?
I'm not able to say I'm optimistic or pessimistic, but I'm working for better future of international community. I'm an optimistic person, and when you have optimistic views, you are motivated to work to have good result and better result. This is what I'm doing. Of course, there are so many challenges, so complicated and complex, and the positions of parties concerned are all different. And this is a very frustrating process. I have many special envoys and special representatives who work for this peace in all around the world. I'm cautiously optimistic that when I have such a strong, determined will to work for peace and security, then we can achieve better results. That's what I'm doing as Secretary General.
So you never lose faith in humanity and our possibility to live in peace?
That's what I believe, and conviction and firm, determined will to achieve something will make your work much different.
Thank you so much for taking time talking to us.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Been a great pleasure.
Yes.